Hi everybody, it's Kathy. Thanks for coming back to my channel. Today I'm going to take you through this tutorial on how to make this file folder journal. It's a little different than the other ones I've made. It has almost like a double journal and two signatures held in place with elastic so that they're removable. Let me show you what it is. Okay, this first flap does have a full pocket that we'll look at when we turn the page. This has some crocheted, a couple of pockets, double pockets. Then on this side it has a beautiful cloth pocket and a large pocket at the top. And this pocket holds a little accordion style little journal. And this cloth pocket was made by Devana Renee, and she does sell these. They're so beautiful, and if you're interested in having her make you some, please let me know by mentioning it in the comments or messaging me, and I will give you her information. Then we have a little tuck spot here with a little tag. And I use Craft Tech on here. I love Craft Tech to put in journals. This is the first signature. And the paper collection is by Louise Hensel. And this is just all blank paper. Some tea dyed. Held in place with that signature so it can be removed. And I do sew my smaller signatures. I like to do that. I think it's easy, makes them secure. This is the back, has a little sewn pocket. And here's the beginning, almost the beginning of the second journal, another big pocket in here with a beautiful tag. And here's a large glassine bag that we're going to make with a pretty tag in it. Turn the page. This is the first page of the new signature, second signature. And the same thing, paper, paper, paper. And then the back has another large pocket for a tag, and I put in another cloth pocket. So that's what we're going to make today. I love it. I think it holds a lot, especially like it because it has two signatures, two separate ones that you can take out. Okie doke. So let's go over, if you're interested, let's go over the materials. First of all, you need 2 or 3 file folders. That's the letter size. You need 5 to 6 pieces of cardstock and scrapbook paper. You need 6 eyelets. You know, eyelets are these little things. You need 2 pieces of elastic, and I get the very thickest kind. And those need to be around 18 to 24 inches each, maybe a little smaller. You need your ribbon for your closure and your ribbon or twine for tags. Those are your materials. And your tools that I would recommend. You're definitely going to need a scoreboard, a paper trimmer. Pinking shears are optional. We're going to use those to make our glassine bags. You need a corner rounder, which is also optional. You need an eyelet setter, a hole punch, a 1-inch circle punch, and scissors. And here are the measurements overall. Overall, the journal is 6 inches by 9 inches. And the signature paper inside, the signatures are 10 1/4 by 8 1/4 inches. And you'll need about 30 pieces. I put 15 pieces in each signature. That gives me 15 pieces will give me actually 60 half pages, but 30 pages in each. In your file folder score lines, which we're going to do, the first thing are 5 3/4 inches by 6 1/4 inch. Okay? So let's get started. The first thing you need is your scoreboard. And I have mine here. You're going to take your file folder and line up your straight edge against the top. And we're going to score it at 5 3/4. I've already done this because this is my second take. And 6 1/4. And go ahead and do that on 2 of them. 5 3/4 and 6 1/4. Okay? You can set your scoreboard aside for now. You won't use it right away. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of those folders and I'm going to fold it on the score lines. This is where you need your bone folder so you can make that really strong crease. I'm actually folding it the wrong way. You should fold it probably so that your shorter lip goes towards the inside. And do the same thing to the other score line so that it looks like this. Let's fold out that spine. Just like that. Okay? Next thing you want to do, you can sew this or glue it. I'm going to glue it. We're going to glue it on the inside, down the edge, down here, and up. So let's do that. And I would glue it after the little tab. It's your option if you want to cut off those tabs. I like the way they look. Whoops. So I'm going to keep them. Boop, 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 boop. Ooh. I guess I should put it in front of me so I have more, put my palm down. Okay, and just fold that over. I love these glass boards. I got it on Amazon. I think it was $20, but I love it because everything truly just wipes off. I have one of those other kind of expensive ones that's just a mess. Okay, so you have something that looks like that. Now what we want to do is we're going to take our other folder, and this is different than what I did for the one I made, but this is an easier way to do it. We're going to do the exact same thing to this one. Crease it very well. I'm going to get it in order there. Open it up, and we're going to glue it. And you see how I'm not going all the way up near the top because it's going to hit, it'll be too far. It'll go over the tab line. And just fold it over. And glue it in. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to glue these suckers together. Just like this. Okay, so I'm going to take glue. I'm going to go under the tab line because the other one doesn't have the tab there. We're not making a pocket in between. You could actually, but I just think it's a little sturdier if you don't. When I made mine, I went through the trouble of cutting each piece separately. It doesn't make sense. So this one, this way, I think I'll put it up like this. Just a bit easier. Make sure your back spine is lined up. That's the most important. Make sure that's lined up together. Because if you don't, it's gonna look weird. And don't worry about this fold line here. Not fold line, but overlap. Okay, let's make sure it goes down really well. Get any unwanted glue off. And now it's time to check to make sure that these are still pockets and you didn't glue anything that wasn't supposed to be glued. But I forgot to glue something. I only glued one side last time, so I'm gonna glue here. Okay, so you should end up with open, and these are two pockets. These are stuck together, and these are two pockets. Now, you see on the back how this is off? I'm actually going to trim it. Make sure this is right. I'm going to trim this just a bit. I don't know if yours came out like this, but I'm going to trim that little edge off. And then I'm going to glue this again because I think I probably, no, it's still glued. Let me do a better job at trimming. And then because I got rid of the rounded corner, I'm going to take my corner rounder and round this again. Just like that. Okay, so we have a pocket here, a pocket there, and a pocket there. Okay, the next thing we want to do is, you'll notice on the one that I made, I had 1, 2, 3. I had one more opening here, this one. So we need to make that one. And I'm still going to use a file folder. And I'm still going to score that file folder at 5 3/4. Let me make sure. Let me see how wide this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 3/4. Okay, I thought that was right. So I'm still going to score it at 5 3/4. Let me make sure. That's right here. And I'm going to score it at 6 1/4. But this time, I'm going to take my paper trimmer and I'm going to trim this on the 6 1/4 line. And then I'm actually going to cut this, make sure. Cut it at the bottom fold. And keep the piece with the score line. Okay? So I have the score line over here and I'm going to fold that score line. Just like that. And I'm going to burnish it really well. Just like that. And I'm going to take that piece and that's going to serve, whoa, a bug. That's going to serve as my front cover. For some reason, that's not wide enough. I'm going to change that, rewind. Let me see if this one works. No. I'm going to grab another file folder and I see what my mistake was. My mistake was that I'm going to score it at 6 1/4 because I want this a little larger, and 6 3/4. So 6 1/4 and 6 3/4 instead of 5 3/4 and 6 1/4. Then I'm going to take this. I'm going to hope this is right. And I'm going to cut it on the 6 3/4 line. And then I'm going to cut it in half while I'm here. Yeah, this should be right. Now, let's see. I'm going to fold it on that fold line. Whoa. On that score line, rather. Burnish it really well. Oh, it's got to go the other way. Okay. Then, let's see if this fits a little better. It does. Now I'm going to take glue and we're going to glue this line, this piece. Just like this. making sure again that the bottom is lining up. Okay. And let me put some glue in here because it's not quite gluing down on the fold. And I really want to make sure it does. Okay, so now I have this, then I have the one signature is going to go there, and the one signature is going to go there. Just like that. This is a little bit too large still, so I'm going to trim it down this line. I don't know where I'm going wrong with this measurements. I'll have to figure that out. And then I'm going to wait and round the corners there until I put the paper on. So now what we want to do is cover the entire booklet in your scrapbook, your pretty paper. Okay? So I have some more of Louise's paper. And that's what I'm going to use on the inside. And I don't have to worry about the spine. Whoops, I'm not covering this yet. That's the cover, covering the inside. What you want to make sure you cover is this line where the elastic comes through. Otherwise it looks kind of wonky. So I'm going to cover this, I think. Let's see what I want over here. I'm going to put this over here. Oh, yeah, I would go like this, but I printed it going this way. So let me make sure it should be 6 inches, 5 3/4 inches by 9 inches. So I'm going to use my cutter. And cut 9 inches off this way. I'm going to cut it off the bottom because I want the butterflies to stay. And this way it's 5 3/4. Is that right? We'll see. Okay, so this one's going to go over here. I'm not worrying about the tabs yet. Oh, this goes here. There we go. And then this one looks a little larger. So this one's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This side is 6 inches by 9. So we use this. Let's use this one. So we're going to go 6 inches This side I want the flowers on. And that's by 9 as well. So this is going to go here. This is going to go here. I'm going to turn the page. And we need something for here. So I'm going to cover over that score line for the binding. I'm going to cover that. Because this is such thin paper, it won't be a problem folding it. But I want to make sure that that's covered. So we have it by the dot here. And that's going to be by 9 inches. That's going to go here. Then I also want a plain piece like that if I have one, which I don't. So we'll use this one. And this is going to be, I would imagine, 5 3/4 right here. Next to the dot this way. By 9 inches again. Get all this junk out of here. Putting that aside. Oops. This one's going to go on this side. And then we have one more, which is also going to be 6 by 9. I'm short of paper. And this is six by 9. Okay, so that goes in here. Over there, I need one more piece. Going to have to use one that goes this way. Let's see if I can fit it in. No. I really wanted it to be able to run the correct way. But I'll cover it up. Okay, so this is 5 3/4 by 9. So if I want to take off the border on both sides, all around. Okay, so this is 5 3/4. By, look what I did. Stonato. what I did was I didn't cut it right. 9 inches this way. Let's try again. I wanted to cut the border off. 9 inches that way. Let's cut the border off this way. And then we're going to cut it at, this is 9. We're going to cut it at 5 3/4. Let's try to get this right this time. Take off this little bit. It's going to make it short. Dodo brain. Okay. That's going to go there. Take away my scraps. Then, so what we're going to do next, we're still not worrying about the cover yet. I want to score a 1/2 inch off the left edge. Just like that. And that's so it sits nicely when we glue it down here. And then I also need to do the same thing. Which one was the larger piece? This one. On this side, we're going to score a 1/2 inch off this side. Okay. Now we're ready to glue it down. So let me put this in here. And let's start with this side. This side. Whoops. I also needed, no, I didn't need to do it here. But I am going to need to trim it. But that being said, let's just glue it. And I'm going to put the glue right on to the file folder. And I'm going to put it just a tad on the other side of the fold line so it doesn't come up. The easiest way to do that is open it up so you know you're not going over the fold line. And we're going to cover that in a little bit. No need to worry. And we're going to trim this in a little bit. And now we're going to put it on this side. Try to get as close to the edges as you can. I always go back and make sure it's in the edge. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Open it up, making sure it's just on the other side of the fold line. Just like that. We're going to put some ink in there, so not to worry. And while we're here, I'm going to go ahead and trim this. And while I'm here, also going to go ahead and add something to cover that little spot there. Always try to match it up, but sometimes you just can't. This time I can. And I'm just going to glue it. And I'm going to match it up as best I can. And then I'm going to trim it. Whoop, the glue just fell on the floor. Let me get that. Okay, now I'm going to trim it. Let me take these pieces out. Kind of tricky getting in here. Okay. And now this side goes like this, actually like this. And on this side, we're only going up to the pocket line. Do this standing up. And make sure we have enough glue, which I definitely do not. And this is going to get trimmed in a little bit. This is kind of the tedious part of this, as you can see, before the fun part that we all love, the decorating, comes in. And don't worry that they don't match. There's going to be a signature in between these. And I'm going to trim this. And this is the tricky one to trim, because there's a tab. And I want to make sure there's glue. Okay. And then we're going to do this side. Okay. And that goes this way. That's going to need to be trimmed, as well this. You know what I'm going to do? On this one, I'm going to trim this off. I don't think we need that. So now I can just glue it all the way across, because you still have the tab above it. And this one goes this way. And we'll trim this off. And let's see what we have over here. Nope, it's got to be a big one. A big one. So we'll do this one. I'm just going to glue. And you want to go down inside the pocket a little bit so you can't see the manila folder. And all this stuff, I'm going to, when we ink it up, you won't be able to see any of that. And I'm going to go on this side to trim it. It's just always been easier for me to trim it after I glue it rather than make a template, because inevitably my template would be off. I'm not the best measurer. Okay, that's fine. This is the cover. Still have a few places to cover up. Let's see. This one could go here. So I'm going to glue it up. Plop that in. Make sure I'm not gluing it down. And the same thing over here. Let's see what I have. I think I can just use this. And we're going to glue it up. Just like that. That will be covered. This needs more glue. And now we're ready to trim this one. Okay, going to trim that. And trim this one. Okie doke. So the inside is covered. I want to brandish this again because our spine got kind of wonky. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take and cover the cover. Now I already have this cut out. I put it on additional cardstock. I have 2 pieces. So I'm merely going to glue this down. And why I did that, because I originally wanted a piece that could cover everything, but these were only 8 by 10, 8 by 11 and a half pieces of paper. So, and I wanted to use these rather than using additional different types of cardstock. So that's okay. I wanted to make sure I get that down really good. And I'm going to trim it while we're here. Just like that. And then the back, just the same. Except I see there's a little piece that needs to be trimmed. And sure, you can see how I pieced together paper, but that's okay because there's going to be a covering on the spine, so it won't show so much. Let's see how this needs some glue. Catch it while I can remember it. Okay, and this can be trimmed. And I wanted to round this corner. Rounding it just on the 1/4 inch side. And I'm going to round this. I just like the way it looks when it's rounded. This one was already kind of wonky. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add this covering for the spine that I've already folded. Of course, I didn't fold it correctly. So it looks like I need another 1/4 inch. So I'm going to do that. Looks like I need that there. And you all don't need to do this. I just didn't have, you know, the paper that I wanted to use in the right bit. And let's try again. Making sure that these pieces nope, this still is not correct. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to flatten this out again. I don't think I have any more of this paper. Let me see. Well, you know what? I won't use that. I'm going to use this pretty gold paper. It'll pick up the gold, then I won't have to worry about it. I want it to come over right about there. I'm going to cut it a little larger. Using my, and I love this paper. I get this from Hobby Lobby. It's $1.99, but when you get it at 40% off, or Paper Studios quite often is half price usually. Okay, cut it right about here. Maybe make it a little larger. They have it in like 5 colors, which I love. Okay. I think that's far enough. So let me measure this and see. It's 1 inch. So let me see if I can score it correctly this time. I'm going to score it at 1 inch. Oh, that's 1.5, and I'm going to score it at 2.5. Before I cut any off, because I really don't want it this wide. Let me just see if that's correct. Yes, it is. It's a miracle. And I'm going to cut it. Yeah, I like it like that wide. I don't want a real wide one. So, let me cut it right about there. And that about does it. And then I'm going to, this time, I'm going to put glue on the spine. line up one side because I'm gonna have to trim the other. But I want to make sure that the spine is correct and flat. Oh, it's the trouble with this paper, it doesn't always stick well. Let's try again. Okay, that's not working. Okay, third time's the charm. Let's see. Okay. Now I think I got it. Then I need to trim this. Okay, I do a little better job at trimming it. I'm gonna have to put on a lot of glue. So I'll bring out the big guns. There we go. Constantly making sure it's straight. When you're working with file folders, they need a lot of structure. But I love the way that looks. It's a little trim. Little trim. Okay. Making sure the spine is sticking. This sucker doesn't want to stick. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is cut the hole for our eyelets. Punch the hole for our eyelets. And I have a memory keeper. I'm using the larger one. I think it's 5/16 hole punch. I'm gonna go right in here. And where you want to do it is not in the first one, but in the second one where you have that little spine area. And you want to make sure you're not going down too far. Right there. right there. Turn the page. Right there. So I'm going down about 1/4 of an inch. And if you know me, you know I don't measure things. I give it an eyeball view. Then I'm going to take my eyelets. I'm going to put the good side of the eyelet on the outside. Press it through. Woo. And these things, putting in an eyelet, it does take practice. I've ruined a lot of eyelets. May as well do the other one that's up here while I'm here. So we have those two, and we'll go down to the bottom. Whoop. I see it's already coming up. Have to work on that. I didn't match these holes up very much on this side. Darn. Oh well. That's why we call it handmade. Not a machine. Okay, so we have our eyelets in. That's going to hold our elastic, but this still needs some glue. And normally you'd let this dry for a little bit before you play with it. But I wanted to get, I don't want this to be forever. So I'm going to take my elastic, put it in, and put it in. And make it as tight as you can. Better if you have someone else put their finger there. That's okay, and I'm going to trim it. I'm going to do the same thing. If I can find the elastic. Do the same thing on this side. And over here. That's good. Trim it, and I have my signatures ready to go. Remember I said that I sewed my signatures? When they're only a few pages, this is 15 pages, I try to sew them usually. So I'm going to put this one on this side. And this is the paper I make kind of like glossine. I learned it from Nick the Booksmith. And you take tracing paper, I printed out the image, and then I sprayed it with clear coat. It gives it that shiny, translucent look. And then this one's going to go on this side. And those are our two signatures. And now we're ready to decorate. Oh, actually, I'm going to put in the ribbons. And the ribbon's going to go here. And we're going to put eyelets in those too. And the ribbon's going to go here. And then here's our ribbon for this side. This is Sari Silk that I got from someone on Facebook. I buy a bunch. If you want to know who sells it, send me a just make a mention, and I'll look up past purchases, and it should tell me. Then I'm just going to tie a knot at the bottom, as close to the bottom as I can get. Oh wait, I didn't put the eyelet in. Darn. I do want to put that in because this is fragile. And one last eyelet. That's why you need the 6 of them. And one last eyelet over here. Now we're ready for the ribbon. Yeah, let me go this way. That's that side. And I like the way that looks with the gold. And then I have another piece. Let me tie the knot before I put it in. Seems to be a little easier like that. Then we'll go from the other side. There. And I don't like the way this looks. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna cut this off. I don't like the way the tab looks there. So we're gonna do without a tab. Okay, so thanks for watching today, and then part 2 we'll get into all the decorating. But here's what we did today. We made the base, we made places for our embellishments. Here's the first signature, and what I do with my signature, I usually don't go over 15 pages per signature. And I rotate between a colored paper, tea dyed, some other paper. Usually I use lots of different kinds. This one I basically used maybe 3 different types of paper along with some glossine type. And the same thing for this side. These are our signatures. And lots of pockets already, but we're going to add some more. So, thank you for hanging in there. I hope it wasn't too garbled up for you and messy. Sometimes I'm discombobulated. But come back and we'll finish the cover as well. Thanks for watching and have a good evening. Bye.